Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. I've got two topics to discuss in this latest room temperature jam. I'll start with this one from you today. Ripple engineer gives major insight on XRP, RippleNet, and ODL. And I'll acknowledge that to some degree I just kind of like audible sigh, face palm, all that crap, because it's amazing to me that we're talking about this in 2023, but the only reason I somewhat hesitate to state that is because I know that there are always new people jumping into crypto, new people learning about XRP, in which case I wouldn't expect them to know all the basic stuff. You don't just jump into crypto and magically have all the information that people have been here, as long as many of us have been. I understand that too, but it's really more so that some of the people that I know have been here for years literally don't know something as basic as what's being covered here. Like, does RippleNet use XRP, yes or no? That's what we're going to be talking about. I know. There's an article about it. We're talking about it, man. But then there's this, and this article was honestly a ton of fun to read. This one comes from Blockworks, and it's titled, "No Matter What Happens with the SEC, Ripple Has Already Won." And so you'll see what they mean by that, but it was just so fascinating because Ripple's been treated as the bastard child of the entire crypto sphere since well before I jumped into crypto over half a decade ago. From the beginning of their existence in crypto. And then because they've supported XRP from the beginning, that made XRP bad. XRP are bad crypto, right? It's a banker's coin. It's a crap like that, which doesn't make sense. If anything, Bitcoin's a bigger banker's coin than XRP at this point. But setting that argument aside, one of the biggest reasons I really enjoyed this article is because when I jumped into crypto in 2017, I came in as a blank slate. I just wanted to believe whatever was true. And so I tried to poke every hole in the long-term adoption concept for XRP in a general sense, and I couldn't do it. I was trying to throw the kitchen sink at the bad boy, and XRP just wouldn't break. And so after all of this time, to see some of these people that would have argued against me half a decade ago finally admitting, no, XRP's fine, it's kind of satisfying. Can you blame me? It feels a bit satisfying, a little bit of vindication there. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so let's start out with this first story. Ripple engineer gives major XRP insight, or major insight on XRP. And they're talking about none other than Neil Hartner, a current Ripple employee. You can see self-described in his Twitter profile as senior staff software engineer at Ripple, working on on-demand liquidity cross-border payments. So if you want to know something about on-demand liquidity, wouldn't be the worst person to ask. You know what I'm saying? So there was this video clip shared by an account called Sir Clown Sniper. And from what I've seen from Sir Clown Sniper, pretty damn precise. Been fighting, from what I've seen anyway, not that I've looked in depth at every single thing this person has written, but I've seen a few things recently. I've talked about some of them even recently on the channel, and seems to basically just be trying to destroy FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, pushing back against crazy riddlers, buyback theory nonsense. All good stuff where I'm just like, yep, rooting right alongside you, on the same page. And shared this video clip in which Matt Hamilton there on the left, former Ripple employee, was talking, and he noted in this particular video clip that RippleNet doesn't have a cryptocurrency and RippleNet doesn't use XRP specifically. And so Sir Clown Sniper wrote, "Good night to all the folks who still think RippleNet uses XRP." And Neil Hartner, a Ripple employee, responded to that and said, indirectly yes, directly no. And so he's stating there, RippleNet, does it use XRP? Yes, it does, indirectly, but not directly. And then Neil Hartner says, "I don't know how much the distinction matters anymore when over half the payments on RippleNet will end up using XRP via on-demand liquidity." And so just to be clear here, I don't want there any confusion even at the beginning part of this video, but RippleNet uses on-demand liquidity, and on-demand liquidity uses XRP. It's a tech stack. That's right. It's a technology stack. And so if you state that RippleNet uses XRP, it's not literally true if you mean directly, but it ultimately, in a roundabout way, does end up using it. And so I end up just thinking back to many years ago before Ripple rebranded their technology suite. You may recall that the technology at the time, there were three primary parts that were touted publicly all the time. There was X Current, so that was the payments portion. That's another more clean way to word that, even though it is a payments portion. It's not for settlement. It was a payments portion, and it's just a messaging platform, really, kind of like Swift is. It's a messaging platform. That's what X Current was. And that is what is now known as RippleNet. It was just rebranded. X Current became RippleNet. Separately for settlement, there was XRapid, which has been rebranded to on-demand liquidity. And then there's separately from that, there was also XVia, which my understanding basically is the same thing as XRapid, but it's just for corporates. So it's effectively the same thing. They stopped chopping that whole technology suite into three things. They got rid of they got rid of all three of the original names. But then I think they just kind of clumped XVia and XRapid into one and just called it on-demand liquidity. That's what it looks like to me anyway, from what I've seen. And then so the messaging portion, that's just RippleNet. So it certainly is true back in the day. I mean, remember I'm talking about this 5 years ago, because people would be complaining, Ripple's technology at current, it doesn't even use XRP. I was like, well, that's right, it doesn't. But you can use XRapid, tack on that technology, and then it just does. So in a roundabout way here, if you say RippleNet doesn't use it, okay, but on-demand liquidity, it goes together like, peanut butter and jelly. You know what I'm saying here? So I get it. It's like, if you want to be the most precise, Matt Hamilton's correct. RippleNet doesn't use XRP, but RippleNet does use on-demand liquidity every single day, and on-demand liquidity today requires XRP. And so then Sir Clown Sniper responded and said, RippleNet doesn't use XRP. It can send instructions to use whatever, including on-demand liquidity, just like Swift. Regardless, RippleNet does not use XRP. And so, while technically true, Neil Hartner took a little bit of issue, and I understand why, with the message that he's pushing here. And I do get it, because it doesn't help to add sufficient clarity. I think that's ultimately the problem that he was having with this, even though Sir Clown Sniper was actually accurate. But Neil Hartner responded, "You're mincing words. If someone is asking, was this RippleNet payment facilitated with XRP? A majority of the time, the answer is yes." So think about that. You can accurately state RippleNet doesn't use XRP, but then if he asks the question, was this RippleNet payment facilitated with XRP? Usually the answer is yes. Well, think about that. Might there be some confusion in the mix that's unnecessary? And so that was ultimately the point here. And then Sir Clown Sniper responded and said, RippleNet isn't a platform to settlement, it's a platform for payments. XRP is for settlement. Agreed? ? And Neil Hartner responded, agreed. Provide the context and we are all good. Stating RippleNet doesn't use XRP and omitting any context related to on-demand liquidity just creates confusion. And I do think that's a very fair point. Sir Clown Sniper then responded, the context is this. We have people in this community that see RippleNet being used and say RippleNet can use on-demand liquidity. But then they're telling people that this is going to jack the price of XRP up to $2 to $10,000 per coin because they don't understand how on-demand liquidity works. On-demand liquidity barely moves XRP price because it's a buy and a sell. Would you agree with that? And oh, by the way, I don't want to go in depth on this because you could have this kind of splinter off in so many different directions, but he is right. In terms of, everybody thinks, okay, well, if on-demand liquidity is, if it's getting used and then there's going to be that much more of a demand for XRP, then the price goes through the roof. I'm like, you thought about half the equation. What about the fact that, yes, there's buy, so that increases the buy side in one market, but then you have an equal selling pressure in the recipient market. That evens out via arbitrage. And so I don't want to get into that topic any further for the purposes of this video. I've talked about that rather in depth, but he actually is quite correct on that. So if on-demand liquidity is going to help, and there is more to it than that. I don't want to oversimplify. I do still think it's a net positive, like the fact that on-demand liquidity would be utilizing XRP. Yes. And then on top of that, and then I'll say one more thing on this, and then I'll just move on because it's not the real primary purpose of this video. But since it came up, it is also true that in order for XRP to be used via on-demand liquidity, more parties must be holding XRP, and that impacts supply and demand. So that is another important thing to consider. I'm just saying, if you're looking at the totality of an individual transaction, there's a buy side, there's a sell side, that pretty much evens out. But as far as those entities that are holding XRP to make this possible, if there's demand for that, then if XRP in any given moment is getting used for that, it can't be used for other stuff. So that's positive for XRP price action, for sure. Unquestionably. And then also, I think for anybody that just wants to speculate, oh, well, businesses are using this, well, maybe it's not going to go away. I want to diversify. Maybe I'll plop some money into XRP. I could totally see people, especially in a mature market, thinking along those lines. Anyway, but Neil Hartner responded to that and said, agreed, nope, I'm sorry. This is the next one down here. Neil Hartner said, I can't really comment on anything related XRP price either way. But what you just said is a much clearer explanation of what you were trying to argue than just saying RippleNet doesn't use XRP. And then Sir Clown Sniper responded, okay, we've all learned something. RippleNet doesn't directly use XRP. So fair enough on that point. Now on to the next topic, and I think this is just going to be an entire barrel of fun. Not like a quarter to a half barrel of fun, but an entire full-on barrel of fun. If you want to pause here and pop yourself some poppycorn, go right on ahead. I'll be right here when you get back. But here's the headline from Blockworks. No matter what happens with the SEC, Ripple has already won. XRP has long served as a punching bag for jaded crypto folk. Until Gary Gensler. Gensler is the Cruella de Vil to crypto's 101 market caps. The SEC has come for Kraken, Genesis, and Gemini, although it was very late to the latter two. Gensler has prosecuted Library and sued Degenerate-in-Chief Justin Sun over his Tron and BitTorrent offerings just last month. Now, he's even angling for the biggest fish, Coinbase, posturing to sue the top U.S. crypto exchange for trading in alleged unregistered securities. But while the SEC has dished out more than 80 enforcement actions against crypto startups since 2017, 30 of them last year, there is one case that trumps almost all others: the SEC versus Ripple. Although many crypto industry observers previously saw Ripple as the butt of the joke, the SEC case, win or lose, is sparking what appears to be a 180-degree change in how crypto diehards view the long-derided company. Oh, fuck, isn't this is beautiful. All it took was recognizing that we're actually all in the same damn boat, and you need to stop being little tribal punk asses and just come to your senses here, because whatever your favorite coin is not necessarily safe. In fact, it's probably in immense danger. But, you know, all it took was, so not just this lawsuit, but then everything else happening and all the tax against staking and the exchanges now, all that. And people are like, oh yeah, I guess this is kind of bad. How about, well, we've been saying it in the XRP community for over 2 damn years. Little bitch. All right, anyway, peace continues. Gensler is adamant there's no need for crypto-specific securities laws. And among those 80 or so cases against crypto startups are instances of outright fraud and other misdealings. Those efforts must be applauded. But in the background, all along, from before Gensler's time, Ripple has been funding a full-scale legal defense against the U.S. securities regulator. It has also publicly refused to settle, bucking the trend of crypto startups ponying up to SEC fines. Now, critics would have once said that XRP is a centralized, entirely pre-mined, with Ripple Labs awarding itself 80% of the supply from the get-go. Others would take offense on a more philosophical level. XRP is the banker's coin, built to strengthen the existing finance system that Bitcoin was so immaculately conceived to undermine. And I love all this for so many reasons. If you talk about XRP being the banker's coin, well, then Bitcoin's a banker's coin too. Because, and I love how perfect of a comparison this is. Jack Mallers, the founder and CEO of Strike, is literally using Bitcoin to help the legacy financial system in the same way, as a bridge currency, in the same way that Ripple's using XRP to do the same damn thing. So Bitcoiners, some of them, let me say it like this. There have been plenty of Bitcoiners out, especially the toxic maxi ones, who have said XRP is the banker's coin in years past. I don't see them saying that as much now. I really don't come across that quite as frequently. That's because their whole position was just stupid as hell from the beginning. You can use any decentralized cryptocurrency for whatever the hell you want. Whether it's XRP or just Bitcoin, pick your coin. If it's decentralized, plug it in to whatever technology stack you want to. Ripple was using it for a thing. Now Jack Mallers with Strike is using it for a thing. And it's the same damn thing. It's the same effort. It's just that they're using Bitcoin and Lightning Network to an attempt to achieve the same goal. So they started with an inferior technology stack, but they're still trying to do the thing that Ripple, they showed their first demo like 8 years ago doing it, something like that. And then the idea of it being centralized when there's no control. And this is the other thing, the whole pre-mine thing with all the XRP being created all in one go, all at once. There's no mining. These crazy toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls, living under a bridge, staying warm next to dumpster fires. Like, they consider pre-mining to be original sin effectively. Now, it's so stupid because eventually all Bitcoin will be mined. And then when all Bitcoin is out in the wild and all XRP is out in the wild, nobody's going to care how it got out in the wild, you idiot sticks. And so all of this is just nonsense bunk stuff. And by the way, I'll mention here too, Ripple didn't award themselves 80% of the supply of XRP. The founders gifted XRP to Ripple, which is a different statement. Facts be damned though, right? Facts be damned. So anyway, considering all of that, and there's all sorts of other things, but still, even just considering those few things cited right there, isn't it kind of interesting to see that now that they realize that they're under attack from the SEC too, or they feel threatened, now people are coming around and defending Ripple and also defending XRP people in the past never would have? All it took was them getting attacked and like, oh yeah, I guess we should all band together. Well, thanks for joining the party. I mean, I am glad that they are getting it, but still, man, it's like pulling teeth for a while here. Anyway, piece continues. But today, if crypto insiders were looking through their enemies for new friends, Ripple and Garlinghouse are top of the pile. Ripple Labs executives have never exactly tried to mend the divide between Ripple and the rest of the crypto world. Co-founder Chris Larson's $5 million Change the Code, Not the Climate campaign, launched alongside Greenpeace last year, aims to convince Bitcoin to ditch proof-of-work mining with newspaper ads and whatnot. Now, part of the reason that's hilarious is because that's not even Ripple. That's Chris Larson specifically and providing his money, his personal $5 million to push for this, because he actually does very genuinely believe in all this, the climate stuff that he's espousing here. That's the reason. And he has his arguments as to why he feels the way he does about Bitcoin. Now, you don't have to agree or disagree on either the climate stuff or the Bitcoin impact or potential impact in the future, all that stuff. Either way, the point is, it wasn't even Ripple. But they wanted to pin it on Ripple because it sounds bad to so many people, especially in the Bitcoin community on the surface. Piece continues, but the stunt has amounted to more annoyance than any real clout. Bitcoiners even ironically adopted the campaign's apocalyptic mascot. Despite the ongoing SEC strife, Ripple also claims its business is better than ever. Institutions do seem increasingly eager to use its crypto-powered payment rail. Ripple now discloses billions in quarterly revenue from selling XRP over-the-counter for use on RippleNet, spending a near equal amount to rebuy the token on public markets. Not that it really matters. XRP has persistently been one of the most valuable blockchain projects in the world. There's a certain Lindy effect that comes with nearly a decade of staying power in crypto. All this we know. The interesting part isn't that Ripple is considered to a success in spite of its detractors. It's interesting now who considers Ripple a success. It took crypto's #1 villain, Gary Gensler, to fully legitimize the project in the eyes of the formerly dubious crypto crowd. And I'll just note that there's Ryan Selkis, who's the founder of Masari here. He tweeted out on March 21st the following. I've been critical of Ripple in the past, various reasons, but more aligned with them than ever before. Ripple should win the overreaching XRP SEC case, and the XRP ledger should be afforded the opportunity to compete fairly on digital payments infra globally. Demand is there. And mind you, this is a person who up to this point has despised XRP. He would say literal falsehoods. I'm not kidding. He would say literally state things that were not true to drive a narrative. And it's a shame that that was the case. But after all these years of hating it, he has actually come around and realized, hey, it actually is just decentralized software. It's just computer code. You can use it for whatever. He seems to finally be getting it. It just took this kick in the rear side with what's happened from all the SEC stuff for even someone like him. But oh my gosh, the stuff that's come out of his mouth and then, and I'm sorry, it's been ridiculous in the past, and it is a pleasure to see this from him. I mean, he hates XRP holders so much, and I've mentioned this a few times over the years. Ryan Selkis, and this is back before I launched my YouTube channel, so nobody even knew who the hell I was. But I remember in a thread about XRP, I didn't even talk to the guy. I never have. But I hit like on a response to something that he was saying about XRP. So somebody was rebutting whatever Ryan Selkis said about XRP. I hit like on whatever that was, and then he blocked me and apparently everyone else that hit like. I was like, okay, I'm brand new to crypto. I'm like, well, that's a nice hello, right? I'm still just, I think that what he's saying is wrong about XRP. I'm still learning about crypto. And I guess that I just should I should not have had the opinion that I had, but that's why it's so funny now. He's come around to my way of thinking after all of these years. And he's one of the most well-known individuals in the crypto space in general. So it is a positive thing. So, I'm happy to let the past be in the past, but I'm just sharing information so that you're all aware of how big of a deal it is. This is something this is like hell is frozen over. I never thought that this would ever happen. I just thought he was so closed-minded and that his favorite food on the planet was room temperature cottage cheese, but apparently he's open to other food items as well. I just didn't know that until recently. Piece continues. It used to be that crypto startups were cursed if their tokens were labeled securities. Something must be wrong with the project if even the SEC knows it's centralized. But now, the agency's fixation on interest-bearing crypto accounts, Coinbase's proposed lending product, and Kraken's staking as a service offerings has set the stage for Ripple's redemption arc. It seems... By the way, that's kind of... I get the concept they're trying to share. That's stupid, though, because it's not a redemption arc. There's no arc where they need to go from whatever to redemption. Ripple didn't do anything wrong. Okay? Ripple didn't do a damn thing wrong. Everybody else was wrong and rude towards Ripple and the XRP community. So redemption arc isn't quite precise, but I get what they're trying to say. Piece continues. It seems realistic that the SEC case could cripple Ripple outright, but the case may well have secured Ripple's reputation for good. If Ripple wins, it will have defeated Goliath to be crowned a crypto champion. Ripple's reputation would only be steelmanned if it lost. A monumental fine could hypothetically bankrupt the firm, but considering its current revenues, it's unlikely. By the way, I also point out that last time Garlinghouse said anything about this publicly, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, he said, yeah, we've got $1 billion in the bank. So, in theory possible, but I'm just saying they're probably going to be fine. They're probably going to be fine. Piece continues. It could be that nothing really changes for Ripple after the case concludes. Win, lose, or jury trial. Except one major shift. The magnetic poles of the crypto industry have flipped. XRP is now bona fide in the eyes of a once hostile industry. All thanks to the SEC. There you go. Truth whacked people over the head. So all it took was the SEC attacking. And then all these people that were being completely unreasonable, irrational, ideologically driven. All that had to happen is feel like they're getting threatened now. And then they're like, okay, tell me more about this XRP thing. It works. Oh, it is decentralized? Oh, okay. And they want to learn all the facts about it now. Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy for it. I am happy for it. I don't want to sound like I'm not happy. I'm appreciative of this. But I still got to laugh a little because I've been dealing with this crap for over half a decade. And there still are people that are just absolute haters. It's not like everybody flipped on a dime, but a lot did. And I think that, even Ryan Selkis... Even if you just look at what he said, and then from Masari, all this coming out, even that has gone a long way. I'd be willing to bet in terms of flipping some of the people's minds that had these false ideas, whether, planted in their head, whether willing or otherwise. Because some people are just outright tricked and hear false narratives and then they fall for it. Like, there's some of that too, and I'm nothing but sympathetic for stuff like that. But for the people that are just willfully ignorant on this, I'm just like, well, live your life, man. Just live your life. It's good to be an XRP holder, though. XRP is not going anywhere. It's sticking around. It continues to be increasingly useful. The more time passes, more people are jumping into crypto. What the hell do you think that ultimately means for price? Which is why I'm happy to be here right now, and I will be as patient as I need to see this thing through. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.